Welcome, and thank you for choosing to view this Early Years Engage webinar. My name is Debbie Jones, Supervisor of Quality Initiatives, and with me is Kim Sangwesa, Manager of Early Learning Services at the Region of Waterloo Children's Services. During this webinar, we will be sharing the journey this community has taken in developing our new approach to quality, as well as an overview of the components of the first phase of implementation. As the Consolidated Municipal Service Manager, the Region of Waterloo Children's Services has the responsibility for the development and oversight of quality initiative measures for licensed early learning and childcare, as well as other early years support services, whom the region has a purchase of service agreement with. For the past 12 years, the Region of Waterloo has utilized the Raising the Bar on Quality model as the endorsed approach with the early years community. In 2015, it became clear, given the transformational changes within the ELCC sector, that it was time to take a new system-wide approach to support the development of high-quality, inclusive service system. The transformational changes happening in our sector were a catalyst for the new quality journey, and we wanted to start by sharing an overview of how we arrived at the place we are now. This slide illustrates the key components of our quality journey: the transformational changes in the early years sector, learning about total quality management, our partnership with the City of Hamilton, the development of our vision for quality, and community collaboration, and finally the development of the new Early Years Engage continuous quality improvement approach in Waterloo Region. Let's begin with change. The past several years have been a time of significant transformational change within the ELCC sector. And I just want to spend a few minutes highlighting those changes, both from a provincial and a local context. Let's review some of the timelines and key changes that have impacted our sector. In the first column to the far left, we see that in 2007, the College of ECEs became our regulatory body, giving us our professional designation of Registered Early Childhood Educator, RECE, or in the case of school boards, it's DECE, with our own code of ethics and standards of practice. These documents have recently been revised and are due to be released later this year. Between 2009 and 2013, we were challenged to rethink our values with the release of important documents such as the Ontario Early Years Policy Framework and Early Learning for Every Child Today, or the ELECT. We also saw the transfer of early learning and childcare to the Minister of Education. In 2014, How Does Learning Happen? Pedagogy for the Early Years built upon the policy framework and became a key component of Ontario's vision for the early years, outlining the four foundations: belonging, well-being, engagement, and expression, as well as approaches to consider in our work. Finally, in 2015, the Ministry of Education replaced the Day Nurseries Act with the Childcare and Early Years Act, and the College of ECE introduced continuous professional learning guidelines. As professionals working in a community system, we continue to respond to these provincial changes and guidelines and how they impact our work with children and families at a local level. Shifting now to the local context, this chart illustrates how the context of quality in early years sector has evolved in recent years at the local level and specifically in our community. The column titled Prior to 2009 refers to the years when the Ministry of Children and Youth was responsible for early years, including its funding. RTB moved from voluntary to expected participation, and the ELCC service plan specifically included guidelines for quality. The next column, 2009 to 2015, speaks to the years during which the childcare transformation and modernization began, and the implications that had on local system planning and management. For example, early learning and childcare transferred to the Ministry of Education, and the Region of Waterloo System Manager role evolved. Partnership with the PRC was strengthened, and business admin and leadership training was provided to the community. Resources focused on capacity building for programs and local quality expectations became mandatory, with incentive grants introduced to support changes that impacted programs. The third column, 2016 is when we began moving towards a total quality management approach for a new quality initiative. Very early in the research and planning for the development of this new quality approach, the benefits of TQM were investigated, and in May of 2015 were shared with the early years community by Nancy Dickinson, the then Director of Children's Services, and soon became our new benchmark. Additionally, stakeholder feedback during the development of Children's Services Early Learning and Child Care Service Plan 2016 to 2020 indicated that providing licensed ELCC that is of the highest quality is the top priority. All 5 actions identified in the Early Learning and Child Care Service Plan speak to the importance of embedding quality into all aspects of the ELCC system, achieving high-quality service delivery in a complex and challenging undertaking, as it embraces all aspects of the operation, from business practices, financial management, auspice, to learning environments, staff knowledge, and working conditions. A total quality management approach, or model, called TQM, is a way of thinking about continuously improving the quality of processes and outcomes. To better understand the TQM model, let's define each of its components. Total involves everyone in all processes within the system. Quality is the degree to which the service meets or exceeds customer expectations and regulatory standards. And management is how the organization will support staff to achieve expected outcomes. TQM engages programs in a continuous process of reviewing practices, developing short and long-term plans for growth, implementing work plans, and evaluating progress. As we embark on this new journey, programs may be at slightly different starting points. However, all will be developing goals and action plans that will help them move toward coherence with the community vision. This new approach to quality includes all early years programs and services that have a service agreement with Children's Services, licensed center-based child care programs, licensed home-based child care agencies, special needs resourcing agencies, and in 2018, the Ontario Early Years Child and Family Centres will join. There has been an evolution of quality models since the 1940s. The private sector has been the leader in the development and implementation of these concepts. However, in recent years, the public sector has begun to apply them. From this slide, you can see the Raising the Bar logo, the little sapling, our former quality initiative, and it was situated between quality control and quality assurance. The new Early Years Engaged Continuous Quality Improvement approach, which will be presented later in this webinar, is setting our sights on total quality management, or TQM, and it is represented by the new icon of purple, green, and blue. Navigating such a shift was an enormous undertaking for one community to manage on their own, and it was at this point, in 2015, the region of Waterloo and the city of Hamilton formed a partnership to research new ideas and options. Through this unique partnership with the City of Hamilton, I, with the support of the Children's Services Division, collaborated with the City of Hamilton and Lois Saunders, who was seconded from Affiliated Services for Children and Youth, or ASCII, as some of you may know the name, to complete a comprehensive review of quality approaches that existed. In addition to a comprehensive literature review, best practices in other fields were also examined. A consultation process was undertaken which included both communities and perspective from 12 other Ontario municipalities. Later, 14 early years sector experts were consulted, representing post-secondary institutions, provincial ministries, and lead researchers in the ELCC field. Links to this work are available on the same web page that you found this webinar. From this work, a co-constructed framework was developed that defined the critical components of a system-wide quality approach. This co-constructed framework, which you will see on the next slide, was then vetted through the respective early years communities and finalized in July 2016. This is the final version of the co-constructed framework. I realize that the details of this slide are hard to see on the screen, so I will just provide a very high-level overview. The framework includes the 8 elements of quality with vision statements for the early years community and goals for the children and families. Using this framework as a guide, each community then turned their focus to developing an action plan that would best fit their respective communities. The early years community in Waterloo Region collaborated through forums and consultation groups to transform the co-constructed framework into a set of vision statements for the early years engaged continuous quality improvement approach. Collaboration has and will continue to be key as we engage in further development of this new approach. Our vision for quality in Waterloo Region is the final product of that collaborative work and has evolved from the blue and yellow co-constructed framework you saw earlier in an earlier slide, and the development of this vision has provided a strong foundation from which to build the new quality approach. The main goal is to create a high-quality system where quality is embedded into all organizational processes at both the system and program level. With the 8 elements of quality forming the framework for our vision for quality in Waterloo Region, it is easy to see how all elements, ideas, governance, infrastructure, planning and policy development, finance, human resources, physical environments, and data research and evaluation play an integral role in developing and strengthening the quality of programs and the broader system. This information has been made into a pocket guide for easy reference, and copies have been distributed for all through the recent launch of the new approach, and more can be obtained through the Quality Initiative offices. I would also like to draw your attention to the quality statement on the front of the pocket guide. It reads, "Quality is a shared responsibility and supported through a system of relationships, the relationships between educators, children, and their parents, among professionals within organizations, between the system and its service-providing partners, and throughout the entire community. It is through these relationships that we are able to create positive change and bring the elements of quality together for children and families." The analogy of a parachute really helps to illustrate how this new approach to quality in Waterloo Region involves more than just quality initiatives. The parachute represents the system, and it's about all the things that we do that have an impact on quality. The elements that make up quality and the relationships that are built as a result of our work are like all the children running under the parachute, working together, support each other, and the parachute to move it through in the desired direction. This graphic of the 8 elements of quality is pictured on the back side of the pocket guide. The 8 elements of quality was designed by Martha Friendly and Jane Beach in 2005 in their work entitled Quality by Design. Historically, Children's Services has used these 8 elements to guide all system-level work and has been used as a focus area in the ELCC service plan. In summary, the new quality approach is not raising the bar, or RTB, but rather a deeper and much broader look at quality. It is not focused on levels such as bronze, silver, and gold, and it is not a binder to complete each year. And it is not a one-size-fits-all. The new approach is about supporting programs where they are at and helping them to move forward in their quality journey. Embedded in all processes, professional learning, business planning and communication, and with families and each other. It is built on a foundation of 8 elements of quality. It's an integrated approach. It's ongoing, continuously evolving and changing. It is mandatory for all service contract holders to participate and also to involve everyone, supervisors, educators, the CMSM or the region, and parents are invested in this process. And it's an opportunity to align and strengthen the work of quality at the system level. Early Years Engage, Continuous Quality Improvement in Waterloo Region, is pleased to introduce the new program and logo. Children's Services is excited about this new journey and the opportunity to work more closely with system partners to build upon the strong foundations of commitment, dedication, and collaboration that already exist in Waterloo Region. The next slides will begin to introduce the new approach. The new Early Years Engaged portfolio, pictured here, contains background information about the new approach and the activities that have been implemented to date. The portfolio is meant to be a point of reference to help ensure that everyone within the organization has access and is able to stay up to date with the current expectations. Working copies of the templates found within the portfolio are available electronically through Quality Initiatives and have been provided electronically as a zipped file to all licensed programs in April. One portfolio has been provided for every program, including YDPs, or Youth Development Programs, where they are not located with a child care center. For multi-site organizations, one additional copy has been provided for the head office. Inside the front cover of the portfolio, you will find a copy of the Pocket Guide, Our Vision for Quality in Waterloo Region. The portfolio is organized by the 8 elements of quality, and all documents going into it will have an element icon at the bottom so that you will know where it fits within the portfolio. Some items could really be placed in a number of categories. However, we have tried to place them where they may be the strongest fit. The portfolio will grow as we continue with the implementation process, and we anticipate the initial implementation will be phased in over 3 years, and then there will be ongoing refinements and modifications as required. Now I would like to invite Kim Sangwesa to walk you through some of the highlights of the Phase 1 implementation.
Thank you, Debbie. And as mentioned, I'm going to be walking you through the components of the first phase of implementation. As you can see, the following is the list of the components that were part of Phase 1. The first 2 items, the Staff Training and Development Policy, including Continuous Professional Learning Guidelines for Professionals and Annual Planning and Site Visit, are more lengthy to review, so we are devoting a webinar to each topic. Both these webinars are available in the same location as you found this one. The remainder of the items, the System-Wide Parent Survey, One List Waterloo Region, the Children's Services Portal, the Annual Income Statement Template, and the new Service Provider Guide will be covered in the next few slides. Let's begin with the System-Wide Parent Survey. The idea for the parent survey came from the desire to obtain feedback from families about their experience with the early years system and to assist the Region of Waterloo Children's Services as the CMSM to better understand what supports are needed to create a high-quality early years system and where those supports are needed. The System-Wide Parent Survey will be one survey completed by all families accessing licensed center-based care or home-based care programs operated by a licensed home child care agency within the region. The survey will have 2 components. Part 1 will contain general questions about the overall system, and Part 2 will be program-specific questions. The system-level questions will be looking to measure families' experiences with services used. Some examples could be One List Waterloo Region, which is the centralized website for finding and applying for childcare in Waterloo Region, or SNAP, the Special Needs Access Point, or other special needs supports within our community. It may also look at issues around availability and accessibility. For example, were families able to access care close to home or work? And were families able to access services when they needed them? In addition, we may also be looking at families' experiences with applying to child care subsidy. This information will assist with ongoing system planning and to help to inform what barriers exist for families in accessing services. Program-level questions will measure parents' perceptions about their child care experience, using the 4 foundations of how does learning happen as a lens. Under belonging, we anticipate the survey could ask questions about whether or not parents and children feel valued and connected at the program, and about the relationships that are being formed among and between adults and children. Questions under well-being could look at the nurturing of children's healthy development and supporting children's growing sense of self. Engagement questions may inquire about the environments and experiences that are provided to children and the opportunities for parents to be actively engaged in the program. And lastly, expression or communication will likely ask about the opportunities for children to have a voice in the program and if children are viewed as capable communicators. It will also touch on the timely and ongoing communication between adults, children, and parents. The parent survey will not launch this year. However, a working group has been formed to continue to refine the survey and provide input into the process. A call for the working group members was put out at the community consultation sessions in January of 2017 and is made up of individuals representing the broad range of organizations across our community. The working group began in March of 2017 and will likely continue until November or longer if needed. As this work continues, there will be updates from the working group and opportunities for input from all early years system partners. The working group will play an advisory role to continue on with the work that has been done to date. The working group will continue to help refine the survey questions, make recommendations about what might be the best time of year to carry out the survey, how the survey would be promoted or marketed to families, and what supports operators and caregivers may require to assist families with completing the survey. We will also be asking working group members to provide the feedback about the survey introduction, which will help to inform families about why the survey is being completed and what is being measured. In addition, the working group will provide input into what the survey summary for both operators and families could look like and how the survey data could be used for planning at the program level. Again, as mentioned earlier, there will be updates and opportunities for the broader early years community to provide input and feedback into this process. We want this to be a very collaborative process and for programs to feel comfortable with the survey tool and the process before it launches. Shifting now to OneList. OneList Waterloo Region, as many of you know, is a centralized website for families to find and apply for licensed care within our region. The site launched in 2013 to better support families in their search for licensed childcare and to provide operators with greater marketing exposure for their programs and an electronic waitlist management system. Since its launch, many additions and enhancements have been made to the system to make it more efficient and to broaden its ability to service the needs of families and operators. Based on feedback from the early learning and childcare operators and families in our community, there are still challenges that exist with using the system that needed to be addressed. In May of 2016, Children's Services put out a call to the early years community to be part of a working group to help identify outstanding issues and suggest potential courses of action. The OneList working group was formed and began their work in June of 2016. Their role has involved providing input and advice on identifying the key issues experienced by both operators and families, brainstorming and developing potential solutions, making recommendations on how and where to market OneList in the community, and making recommendations on additional training and/or supports required for operators to use OneList more efficiently and effectively. Many projects are underway, and we are hoping to provide a more fulsome report by summer. However, I can share a few things that have been completed or are currently under development. In terms of marketing strategies, new bookmarks and posters in both French and English have been developed and distributed to programs. Weekly tweets about OneList are going out through the regional Twitter account, and media screen ads are running at the 3 main regional buildings in employment and income support and housing. We are hoping to launch media screen ads in the townships at the libraries soon. A number of new or revised tools are under construction, including frequently asked questions for both families and operators, as well as a user guide for families. We are also looking at updating the information on the homepage of OneList. In addition, some new policies and guidelines are being developed to support the consistent use of OneList across the region. And lastly, we have conducted a review of both sides of the system from both the family's perspective and the operator's perspective to identify any areas where enhancements could be made. It is really exciting the work that is happening, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon. The development of the Children's Services Portal has been an ongoing project for more than a year and is anticipated to launch by late spring 2017. This portal will serve as a central location for Children's Services to share information with programs. Some of the information that will be shared includes announcements and upcoming events, as well as posted materials and resources such as policies, guidelines, and templates. The portal will also enable programs to coordinate the submission of documents like funding applications, reconciliations, and contact forms. This portal will replace using email for document submission and replace regular mail for CFA letters or Child Care Funding Approval letters and become the place to access funding applications, early years bulletins, policies and guidelines, materials from the ELCC forums, early years engaged guidelines, tools and resources, general news and updates from Children's Services, forms and documents, and as I mentioned, CFA letters. The portal will serve as the centralized repository for all Children's Services documents, including older documents such as the operating funding application. Staying within the area of responsibility of ELCC business supports, the next component of Phase 1 is the annual income statement. Our role as the CMSM includes assessing the financial viability of operators and their ability to carry out obligations absent of risk and liability to the Consolidated Municipal Service Manager, or CMSM, and local taxpayers. The Ministry of Education has a number of requirements for CMSMs, including that they have policies and procedures for the equitable allocation of funding to operators. They have established reporting and reconciliation processes for operating funding, wage enhancement, and pay equity, as well as procedures confirming operator compliance with their service agreement and guidelines such as audit, review, and reporting procedures. To help us meet the Ministry of Education requirements, the Operator Annual Income Statement has been developed and will be used as part of the Children's Services reporting requirements for operators. A copy of the Operator Annual Income Statement can be found under the Financing tab in the Early Years Engaged portfolio. For the interim, this document is available electronically through Children's Services Business Administration, but in the future it will be accessible through the Children's Services portal. The Operator Annual Income Statement will be completed each year by the operator's head office for the previous calendar year. The Annual Income Statement will assist operators in detailing how funding received from the region was expended over the following categories: staff costs, lease and occupancy costs, utilities, resources and memberships, program costs, and other expenses. If you have questions regarding the annual income statement, please contact the supervisor of ELCC Business Administration in Children's Services. Finally, the last component of Phase 1 implementation that we will review in this webinar is the new Service Provider Guide. These protocols were established to engage all new service providers early in their process of opening up a new childcare program in Waterloo Region. The protocols are meant to provide more timely information and support to help shape the program's approach to quality and service. A component of the new Service Provider Guide is an assessment tool that new operators will be asked to complete. This tool will create a starting point for discussion about their plan for continuous quality improvement, financial management, staffing and professional development, inclusiveness, and parent engagement. For more information about this guide, please contact the Manager of Early Years Funding Administration. This brings us to the conclusion of the webinar on the background and overview of the new quality initiative, Early Years Engage. There are 2 additional webinars we would invite you to view, which detail the last and largest components of Phase 1, the Staff Training and Development Policy and the Annual Planning and Site Visit. In addition, we have created a fun way for you to review the background and overview webinar. The game is called KAHOOT, and you can play this game on your own or in a group. This slide provides you with a summary of the instructions on how to play. However, for a more detailed instruction guide and for the link to the game, please click on the document titled KAHOOT beside where you found the link to this webinar. Thank you for watching and enjoy the game.